Then I had been too far gone. Now I was apparently on the way back. Even so, the policeman had plenty of time to repeat his question and to wait some more before I managed to answer. Andrews. It meant nothing to the policeman, but Radnor looked astonished and also disappointed. "Thomas Andrews?" he asked. "Yes." Radnor explained to the police. "I told you that Halley here and another of my operatives set some sort of a trap intending to clear up an intimidation case we are investigating. I understand they were hoping for a big fish, but it seems now they caught a tiddler. Andrews is small stuff, a weak sort of youth used for running errands. I would never have thought he would carry a gun, much less that he would use it. Me neither. He had dragged the revolver clumsily out of his jacket pocket, pointed it shakily in my direction, and used both hands to pull the trigger. If I hadn't seen that it was only Andrews who had come to nibble at the bait, I wouldn't have ambled unwarily out of the darkness of the washroom to tax him with breaking into the Cromwell Road premises of Hunt Radnor Associates at 1 o'clock in the morning. It simply hadn't occurred to me that he would attack me in any way. By the time I realized that he really meant to use the gun and was not waving it about for effect, it was far too late. I had barely begun to turn to flip off the light switch when the bullet hit, in and out diagonally through my body. The force of it spun me onto my knees and then forward onto the floor. As I went down, he ran for the door, stiff-legged, crying out, with circles of white showing wild round his eyes. He was almost as horrified as I was at what he had done. "At what time did the shooting take place?" asked the policeman formally. After another pause, I said, 1 o'clock, about. The doctor drew in a breath. He didn't need to say it. I knew I was lucky to be alive. In a progressively feeble state, I lay on the floor through a chilly September night, looking disgustedly at a telephone on which I couldn't summon help. The office telephones all worked through a switchboard, and this might have been on the moon as far as I was concerned, instead of along the passage, down the curving stairs, and through the door to the reception desk, with the girl who worked the switches fast asleep in bed. The policeman wrote in his notebook, "Now, sir, I can get a description of Thomas Andrews from someone else, so as not to trouble you too much now, but I'd be glad if you could tell me what he was wearing." "Black jeans, very tight. Olive green jersey, loose black jacket." I paused. "Black fur collar, black and white check lining. All shabby. Dirty." I tried again. "He had gun in jacket pocket, right side. Took it with him. No gloves. Can't have a record. Shoes? Didn't see. Silent, though." "Anything else?" I thought. "He had some badges, place names, skull and crossbones, things like that, sewn on his jacket, left sleeve." "I see. Right, we'll get on with it then." He snapped shut his notebook, smiled briefly, turned and walked to the door, followed by his uniformed ally and by Radnor, presumably for Andrew's description. The doctor took my pulse again and slowly checked all the tubes. His face showed satisfaction. He said cheerfully, "You must have the constitution of a horse." "No," said Radnor, coming in again and hearing him. "Horses are really quite delicate creatures. Halley has the constitution of a jockey, a steeplechase jockey. He used to be one. He's got a body like a shock absorber. Had to have to deal with all the fractures and injuries he got racing." "Is that what happened to his hand? A fall in a steeplechase?" Radnor's glance flicked to my face and away again, uncomfortably. "They never mentioned my hand to me in the office if they could help it. None of them, that is, except my fellow trap-setter Chico Barnes, who didn't care what he said to anyone." "Yes," Radnor said tersely, "that's right." He changed the subject. "Well, Sid, come and see me when you're better. Take your time." He nodded uncertainly to me, and he and the doctor, with a joint backward glance, ushered each other out of the door. So Radnor was in no hurry to have me back. I would have smiled if I'd had the energy. When he first offered me the job, I guessed that somewhere in the background my father-in-law was pulling strings. But I had been in a why-not mood at the time. Nothing mattered very much. "Why not?" I said to Radnor, and he put me on his payroll as an investigator, racing section, ignoring my complete lack of experience, and explained to the rest of the staff that I was there in an advisory capacity, owing to my intimate knowledge of the game. They had taken it very well, on the whole. Perhaps they realized, as I did, that my employment was an act of pity. Perhaps they thought I should be too proud to accept that sort of pity. I wasn't. I didn't care one way or the other. Radnor's